What's up, everybody? Big Herc getting down fresh out, and you tune into another edition of Life Lessons. I want to say thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for supporting. We appreciate all your comments, and we like to share this game with you guys. And one of the things I want to talk about is avoid getting caught up in the civilian rat race. And what I mean by the civilian rat race is people who haven't been in the streets, people who are squares, people who don't really know the red tape side of life. You know, they've always lived in the in the I would say the white area. You know, they don't even really they don't really even indulge in the gray area. They have a different perspective on how things work and how you should function. And when you've been in the system and you've been through certain trials and tribulations, you grew up in a certain environment, you've been exposed to things that a lot of people can't comprehend unless they've been there. And I've personally been exposed to both sides of the coin. I've lived on military bases. I've been around people who have never gotten in trouble, who were straight as an arrow. I've also been in the hood where, I've seen people smoke crack, people get shot, people pack pistols, just do all kind of dirt. And, I've had, access to both sides. I got some friends in high school that, never even had sex in high school, where, I had friends in my other side that were, they were busting cheeks, in middle school. They were on some other time, so it's just crazy because I've seen it all. And I can go to, suburbia, or I could go to the hood, and I would, function well in either environment. But, going back to getting caught up in the civilian rat race is that if you've seen that and you've had exposure to both sides, or if you just had exposure to the hood and you get out here and you're trying to be a square and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, it can be very detrimental to you because you're trying to do things in a certain fashion that maybe you're not accustomed to. So you think that things are going to happen faster than what they are happening. And you have to realize that the civilian rat race is different than hustling. Whatever you were doing maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe is not the lick right now because the times have changed. It's not the same game out there. And so, you don't be overly anxious to, do things or get involved in things that you think are going to further your financial gain in the short run, but in the long run, will lead down the wrong path again. And just know that you can't get back the 5 or 10 years you lost, but what you can do is participate in the game, be active, do what you can do, and just know that if you're putting out the right energy, you'll be able to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish. You'll be able to be successful in your own right, and you won't have to prove anything to anybody. If somebody's been out here for 10 years and you were gone, and they have a house and they have all this stuff going, well, man, they should have had that. I mean, you would have had it if you would have never got locked up. But you got to accept that fact and don't think that you're in competition with this person, because that'll get you caught up. Just do you. Don't compare yourself to other people. There's nobody else you need to compete against. You have nothing to prove to anybody else outside yourself. And sometimes we have a tendency to beat ourselves up because we think that, hey, we're not doing the best we could be doing, or we're selling ourselves short. But in all actuality, you're ahead of the game, you're ahead of the curve. And sometimes you gotta just take a step back and look at what you've accomplished to realize where you've been. And that can be very gratifying. So, it's kind of tricky in a sense, and depending on what kind of if you're hanging around squares that have no clue about your background, and then it can be frustrating, and just know that in your own mind, you know what you've been through, you know what you're capable of accomplishing, and you know that whatever you're putting out there, what you can get in return, and that in the long run, it's going to pay off more than whatever the short-term hustle is that crossed your path. So don't get caught up in the rat race, man. And remember that through your trials and tribulations and your journey in life, that things are going to come your way, and some of them will be for you, some of them won't be for you, but you got to make the choice, and you got to be happy with your choices, and don't compare yourself to somebody else. You know who you are, where you're going, and that's the main thing. And if you got a good woman by your side, somebody who has your back, hey man, that's the only person you gotta look out for outside of your kids and your immediate family who's had your back. But just a little life lesson from Big Herc and Fresh Out.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.